Okay.
Hey everybody, we are live on the Team Talk webinar. How y'all doing? My name is Joe Passarelli. This is my beautiful fiance, Meg Miller.
Hello.
And today we are going to be discussing our line in the sand moment. This is sort of the moment that we really decided that, you know, whatever we were going through in our lives, it just wasn't working anymore. And we weren't willing to continue putting in the same actions, trying to get different results. So it can be, you know, a lot of people have different ones. A lot of people have multiple ones. So we're just going to kind of share a little bit about ourselves and what brought us to the point where we were just ready to do something different. I think Meg has a nice example of her first line in the sand moment that kind of brought her to Hawaii in the first place. So she's going to go ahead and share that, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, so welcome. We get together, we open these up for our team, so there may be a few more people jumping on with us. So I'm just going to go ahead and get the ball rolling by giving an example. So one of my biggest line in the sand moments was I was in a car accident. I had just gotten a new job and I was going to the store with a friend. I was on the back of his Harley and we got to the parking lot and we were hit by a car that was going about 35 or 40 miles an hour. And so I had a really bad leg injury and I was kind of laid up for a long time. And as that was happening, I had discovered that this huge sort of entourage, I guess, that I had before the accident disappeared. Like there was just nobody around anymore. And it really kind of made me have to go deep inside to figure out, like, okay, what's really going on here? Like, is this the kind of person that I want to be? Do I want to be the kind of person that's like laid up from an accident and the only people I have in my life are casual friends? And so I had to decide, like, who do I want to be then? If this isn't who I want to be, then who do I want to be? And I made a decision that I was never going to put myself in that position again. And so after I had healed, I sort of went back on my promise to myself. And, you know, it was really a difficult time for me because I was, you know, just healing and I was trying to figure out what was going to go on with this whole like settlement and all of this stuff. And so I decided that I was going to move to Hawaii. I'm originally from the Midwest. We live in Hilo now. And, you know, it changed my whole life. I met Joe just a few days after we got here. And that line in the sand moment for me made me choose whether it was worth it to have a casual, fun life. And to me, it wasn't. To me, I wanted more than that, something bigger and something more powerful, maybe a small circle of friends that really cared a lot instead of hundreds of people who, you know, are just casual acquaintances. And so that was my first big line in the sand moment that kind of got me here. So yeah, that's my example. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. You know, I already knew the story,
yeah, right.
but it's always cool to hear because you know I had some similar experiences with you know, getting my life kind of sorted out, and I'm going to share that here in a little while. But you know, what would you say has been the impact of this decision? Like, how do you feel having made that decision to, you know, see that line in the sand and then say, well, I could go back to the way I was living, but instead I'm going to do something different. I'm going to move to Hawaii. I'm going to take action. I'm going to do something different. So how has that really like affected your outlook?
It's interesting that you asked that because I did sort of fall back into that lifestyle again after some time, and after I was off the crutches and I was off the couch and I was able to like go back out and get a life again. And I sort of fell into that trap again of just having like casual acquaintances. And so when I finally like finalized everything to come here, the way it most affected me was I didn't just allow everybody into my life anymore. It wasn't like, I wasn't necessarily standoffish, but I was much more cautious with the kinds of like energy that I wanted to have in my personal space. And it changed me in a lot of ways because I'm sort of a loner now, which is crazy because a few years ago, it was like I was the first person that people would call to find out what was going on in town. And, you know, I knew everybody. I couldn't go anywhere without running into people I know. And now here I'm like, I have like, you know, a handful, literally like a handful of really close friends that I care a lot about. And, you know, the kinds of people that would show up to my house if I got run over by a car. And it's made my life a whole lot more meaningful because I know that I have that sort of backup and that feeling of knowing that I have chosen to be the kind of person that good people want to spend their time around, that it's not only just that I get to choose who I share, you know, their energy, but I also share mine, and that good people want to share my energy has really, really changed me. And it has changed the way that I choose my friends and my surroundings and my environment and my situation. So yeah, I'm a lot less tolerant of people who are like willfully staying stuck.
Right.
You know, the kinds of people that are just full of excuses. Well, I'd like to do that, but this, and this. And, you know, I just kind of don't spend any time around people like that anymore. So.
And it seems like it's sort of like a snowball effect, because like once you do that, once you have that line in the sand the first time, and you're really able to make a decision that it goes against what you would have done previously, it really sort of starts to accelerate, and you start seeing things differently. You start getting outside of your box a little bit and being able to make different decisions, you know, and choose what you really desire rather than what you feel like you're supposed to do or how you feel like you've been conditioned to act, you know?
Yeah. And the other thing was, you know, like people now, like they think I'm shy or I'm rude, which is also really funny to me because I'm incredibly personable in most, you know, situations, but just because I'm so much more careful, like people sometimes get the wrong idea entirely. And it's funny how quickly you can sort of flesh out somebody's personality by simply being quiet. And that was something I definitely learned because I had to learn how to be more careful choosing my friends. I couldn't just every passing stranger like, oh, hey there, buddy. You know, it was like, oh, okay, I've seen you a few times and I've heard you talk and I think you're a cool, good, you know, person. And yeah, it is a snowball effect. It's like you choose one thing and then it sort of just leads to another natural choice, which leads to another, and it's all positive. It's sort of stair stepping up to another level, you know? It's really cool.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah. And you know, I have another one I want to share at the end that's really really cool.
Awesome.
So
yeah, great. So we'll swing around to that.
Awesome. All right.
Jem, hey, how's it going down there in Australia? Hey, there you are. How you doing, Jem?
Cool. Good, thanks. Good. Yeah, awesome. It's such an interesting topic, isn't it? Our line in the sand moments and what we go through, or what point we get to in our life where we just say enough is enough. And it can really resonate with what you shared too, Meg. You know, about being around different people and that type of influence, and then making that decision and to move on. And and it's so wonderful you guys just met up, you know, days after you moved to Hawaii. That's incredible.
Yeah, it's such a wild story.
Yeah, wild.
Someday we'll have to tell you the whole story. Like, we're sort of famous at this one like hostel here in town because we met there, and they absolutely love us, and they just think we're hilarious. So what was your biggest, like, most profound line in the sand moment? What was the one for you?
I've had a couple, but I think for me the most the most recent one was just where I was in burnout in my corporate job. You know, I just reached this period where I just felt like I couldn't go on. I couldn't keep going on with it. And I can remember, because I worked in corporate and I worked for a university, so we looked after one of the systems that the university used to manage records and information and so forth. And I just remember, you know, going to meeting after meeting and just you know, feeling in my heart, this is not what I'm meant to do, you know. And it's just just the culture and the bureaucracy and the the micromanagement of certain aspects of the role, and for me too, not being able to take time off when I wanted to, because we would do upgrades, so it would be like okay, between this time and this time, you really can't take time off because you've got to stick it out for the entire project for however long it's going. And so I just reached that point where I just couldn't keep going. And I thought, if I really don't make a change, I couldn't see myself doing that for the next 20 years. And then throughout that entire process, I started really looking within and really looking on the inside, which flipped my life perspective around 180 degrees, realizing that, there's much more to what we see, with our eyes. So that combined, so I've been on this path really, like, I think it's for the last 8 months of just really looking on the inside and working out, what my inspiration is and what I want to do moving forward. And that was really the cruncher for me. And I think too, working in the university, you see, we have a lot of international students come in, and they invest a lot of money in a degree. Like a business degree or a marketing degree is something like 40 grand, for students coming in from overseas, and it's such an investment, and they're there 3-4 years before they get to the end of that and can start really sort of seeing any return on investment. So it's, education always comes at a cost. So, that was sort of my line in the sand moment, really, just in this place of burnout and just knowing that I had to do something different and become a different person.
Yeah, I can totally relate. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I have just recently sort of discovered my passion in the world. So it's been kind of interesting for me because I sort of found it by accident, by joining like this business, and then there were all these needs suddenly that needed to be filled, and now I'm like, oh, okay, sure, I can help. And then I just sort of got in over my head. Now it's like I've started a second business completely accidentally, and
awesome.
And it's and I'm just like, okay, so I've sort of had recently another, kind of line in the sand moment too. So yeah, I can relate. I've been in corporate. Joe actually had, I guess since it's just us three right now, we'll just share our line in the sand. So do you want to share like when we were in Honolulu and what happened to you there before we came back here?
Yeah, absolutely. So, we lived here in Hilo for a while, and then, after some time, we found ourselves sort of stuck, feeling that feeling where we weren't really making any strides towards anything. So we decided, maybe we just need to move somewhere where there's a bit more opportunity. So we went to the big city, we went to Honolulu, and we, tried to do some different things there. But we ended up, finally, I was able to get a job, the first ever corporate job I had ever had, with
and
my
you were
business
so
degree.
Excited.
I went to school for 4 years and I got a business degree, and I kind of always figured I'd end up in some kind of corporate job, because that's sort of what they tell you is, the best option for you as a, so, it was an interesting experience to finally experience that world. And I came pretty quickly to realize that, this isn't all it's cracked up to be, at least not for me. I had a lot of trouble dealing with the sort of energy of the place. A lot of people that were pretty unhappy, and it was palpable. You could feel it when you walked in. You could just feel the people that were coming to work every day was the same. And even though I was sort of a freelance contractor position at the time, it was kind of heavy. And I started to realize really quickly that, maybe there was a reason that I hadn't gone this route previously, and I ended up doing different things. And so, I did it for a while, and my job was pretty enjoyable at first. I had a lot of freedom, a lot of ability to work at my own pace and design my own, methodology for getting things done. And that was pretty cool. But over time, I ended up sort of working too well, and I sort of worked myself out of the job because about 6 months after I started, I had completed all of the tasks that I was supposed to complete, and they had planned like a year for this, and so I sort of got them all caught up, and then I kind of received word that, we're not going to renew your contract. They gave me 1 day notice. They said, tomorrow is your last day. And it was about 4 days before Christmas?
Yeah, it was just a few
about
days
4 days before Christmas. So it hit us pretty hard, and we were shocked because I felt like I had done a pretty good job. I got everything done in ahead of schedule, and then my reward for that was kicked to the curb. And that really struck me as like, wow, this is what I can expect in this corporate world. Like, and that definitely wasn't what I wanted. That definitely wasn't what I thought it was going to be. It's definitely not what they told me it was going to be. I was sort of sold the whole, you go and you find a good job at a good company and they will take care of you. You'll get to retire, you'll get benefits, you'll get paid vacation, you'll get a nice salary, and you'll get a company car and all that kind of stuff. All you got to do is get the degree and the rest will follow. But the reality was that didn't really happen. So, I ended up we didn't have many other options. So we fell back into, I went back to my old job in Hilo, which was working at the health food store as a cook. And, it was actually kind of a relief because getting out of that, after all that happened, I was like, I don't even want this anymore. I was done with it.
We couldn't wait to get on that plane.
Yeah, we were so excited. So, I ended up back here in Hilo, which was great because we felt a lot more at home. The big city really isn't our scene. We're country kids. We both grew up in more of, a country kind of environment.
Midwest,
smaller, not so congested and all that. But for me, especially joining the business, I had a definite line in the sand moment. And mine's a little different than probably most people's because Meg actually is the one that found the link and watched the webinar while I was at work. And so, after we had moved back here, I was excited for a while. I was back in my old job. I was feeling kind of better. And then slowly, over time, that started to fade again. And I started to realize that we were back in the same position. We weren't making any forward progress. And we were getting to that point again where every single day felt like it was the same. And sometimes weeks would go by and we couldn't even remember. It was such a blur, And I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that. And, that feeling was starting to weigh heavy. And we just weren't really sure what we were going to do. Moving didn't seem to be an option, and staying put and doing the same thing didn't really seem to be an option. So, she finds this webinar and attends it, gets extremely excited, and starts, texting me at work and, oh my gosh, you have to watch this and everything. So, I come home, and the whole time I'm thinking, I just don't know. How are we going to do a business? Like, we don't really have that much.
You were feigning excitement.
Yeah,
very
exactly.
well there, I'll say.
Exactly. I was really just, trying to ride on her excitement because her excitement was really strong. So I didn't want to quell that. I wanted to, support that and support her excitement. So, I came home and I tried to be excited. We watched the webinar and gears started turning. I started to realize that, maybe this isn't so crazy. Maybe this isn't such a pipe dream, but it wasn't really. So we took action and we joined the business, and we got started, and it was a good ride. At first it really helped us.
You just didn't seem to be into it.
Change our mindset, but yeah, I wasn't super committed to it, and my line in the sand moment was really the day that I decided that I was going to commit to the business. And I remember because I was at work and it was a really bad day. We had, one of the dishwashers didn't show up. So I was doing dishes, which is not my job. You know, I'm a cook. That's not what I signed on for, but you know, it's got to be done. So I was, you know, back there doing it, and I started to realize, like, oh man, this, you know, this, what am I doing? Like, this is only going to get more stressful, and we're not getting the results we want to get out of, you know, me working this job. And then I started to realize that I had been looking at it backwards. You know, I had been looking at it like, oh, my job is my plan A, and my business is the plan B. It's the backup plan. But really, the truth of the matter was that my business had to be my plan A, and my job needed to, you know, not that I had to stop working or anything like that, but I needed to be more committed to my business success than my job success. And as soon as I did that, as soon as I made that decision, we immediately started to experience
Results
a
everywhere.
complete shift in our lives. You know, money started.
Well, the main thing, I think,
accumulating
when
and-
you changed your schedule,
Yeah,
that was the big thing for
I
you. is
rearranged
like,
my whole schedule. I
when
told
you
my job,
decided,
hey,
I have to be
I gotta
there.
do this. I gotta do this business. I gotta be there for certain things. So I told them, you know, I need certain times off so that I can attend training, so that I can, you know, focus on certain aspects. And you know, they said, okay. They said, okay. I walked in there with confidence, and I said, okay.
And you asked for a raise and got it.
And I asked for a raise. And,
The same day.
And I got that. And
Awesome.
all these, yeah, I know. All of these things sort of stemmed from the fact that once I had decided to really commit to the business, my confidence shot up. I started feeling really positive, and everything just started snowballing from there. And really, so making that decision to commit to the fact that I didn't want to work for someone else, that I wanted to have more freedom, more time, a better quality of life, and really the freedom to do the things I wanted to do, which was travel, visit friends and family.
Go outside so we're not so pale.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and explore my interests and my passions. You know, so
Wow.
yeah, it was a really wild ride, and since then it's just, I mean, it's been months of excitement, and you know, now, like,
I love
no
that
day
story.
feels the same. No day feels the same anymore. We don't have that problem anymore. We don't just fall into a routine. Every day is different. Every day is brand new.
I love that story because I absolutely hate doing dishes. Like, we don't have a dishwasher here at our apartment, and I was kind of a spoiled, you know, kid. I've always had a dishwasher until I moved to Hawaii. I've never had a dishwasher since the whole time we've lived here, and so I hate doing the dishes. So when he told me his, I was like, oh no, that would totally inspire me to make a change too. So Jim, let me ask you. So since you got started in the business, have you had a line in the sand moment that like maybe you were ready to like go down a different path, or maybe you were doubting it, or maybe, you know, like, have you had anything since you got started that has like really changed?
Yeah, I've had those wall kicking moments where, you know, I've had my ads account flagged. You know, on a really good roll, you know, getting around that 300, 350 clicks to link, you know, because really it really is a numbers game. You know, it's a numbers game, and then building that relationship with people as they're coming in and supporting them just to take that next step, like seeing them where they're at and not where they're going to be in 1 year, but just helping them take that next step to keep them moving forward. And that's how I view this now. It's not everyone coming in and getting to the point where you're at. It's just helping them one step at a time. But yeah, I've had, and it's happened a couple of times now, because, you know, I've had a backup account going, and then that got flagged last week, and it was just like, you know, I feel like I'm on the verge of this breakthrough, and then these challenges keep coming up. But I'm always reminded, you know, there's that quote in Think and Grow Rich that, you know, with every you know, with every, and the context is with every negative challenge, you know, something positive is just around the corner. So it's just about embracing it and just to keep moving forward. So, you know, I've got my other page up now, which I'm doing some test audiences, and the stats on that are looking really good. So,
Excellent.
and this time I think I'm going to scale it a little bit more slowly, because I think last time I scaled it too quickly.
I wondered if that was what was getting people,
and just being on it's just, so when you have, because really, like, while ever, you haven't got this continual lead flow happening, it's, it's, you sort of you choked really, like, until you can gain that momentum again. So it's about, for me, it's been about, really keeping a vision, because this is like, I love this community, I love this team, and I love working with everyone on this team, because we've got that entrepreneurial spirit, which
birds of a feather.
And Joe, you mentioned about, the energy is palpable in, in an organisation or institution, and I never really recognised that in the past before, but I've always felt that, like, you can feel when people are unhappy in their work situation or don't want to be there, and it's just not an environment I want to go back to. Like, and that's my decision. This is it moving forward for me, and I've just got to keep going to make it work, because it works. That's a fact. For people who follow the steps and never give up, it works. And and that's and
so
we're the only ones. We're the only ones that are ever going to get in our own way, and really, like, it's just getting the mindset right. So for me, it's those line in the sand moments since have been those moments where, okay, an obstacle has come up, how am I going to get around it now? What's the next course of action? And something, a solution always appears. It really does, because I think, like Joe mentioned, once you commit to it, the answers come to you. You've just got to sit quietly with yourself, and the answers come, and you just embrace it and keep moving forward.
Yeah, that's awesome. That is awesome.
And one of the things that, like we talked about this a couple weeks ago when we were talking about personal development and things like that. But I think Pocky mentioned that Dr. DeMartini always says there's for everything negative in your life, that there's a balance. There's always a positive that brings it back into, center. So every time something bad happens, you got to be excited, because that something equally good, if not more good, is coming right down the pipe. It's coming right down for you. So you just got to be open to it, and it is on its way already. You just know it. And definitely, like, being part of this team and this group and this community has been a super positive experience for us, keeping us in line with our true goals and our true visions, which are much bigger than ourselves. And it helps keep us from getting into that micro-focused mindset of, what am I doing right now? And, how is, seeing the bigger picture and being able to step back and really, like, understand that, bad events happen, good events happen, and it's your reaction to them that really determines whether or not you'll be successful or whether or not you'll get stuck again.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, okay, well, I guess we're at 6:30 here. Doesn't look like anybody's going to be able
Last
to
chance,
join
anyone,
us.
if you want to jump on with us.
So, I mean, but this, like, we were just talking earlier, we were like, well, maybe it will be just us. That's okay. We'll just, chat along. But that was what I was thinking was so cool, is that that's the way this business works too. It's like, there are no crazy mandatory meetings, like, meet me in my basement at 6:30 or you're out. It's like, you can show up if you feel like it, and you can join in, or you can pop in and out, and I think that's one of my favorite things. So yeah, I mean, if you don't have anything to add, Jim, I think I'm just gonna close it out with my big line in the sand moment, and we'll just have a short and sweet one this week.
Awesome. Yeah, let's hear it.
Okay, so my big and most recent line in the sand moment. So I mentioned that I had decided I was going to move to Hawaii, but I didn't say why. And because it's kind of funny. So I'm a Midwest girl, and people typically think that, Midwest US is nothing but farms. Like, you know, do y'all have cities? Yes, we have cities. We have electricity and plumbing and everything, you know. We drive cars and all of that, paved roads, and we're fancy. And so, but what I had decided to do, I was going to move to Hawaii, and I wanted to learn to do organic farming because I wanted to be a part of a movement towards the future, which was helping people, you know, and empowering people. And so my whole thing was I was going to come here and I was going to learn how to farm so that I could teach other people how to grow their own food. And I had this, you know, lofty sort of goal when I came here, and we struggled at that. That was the same reason that Joe came here, actually, which was even funnier, because we came for the same reason too. Like, we didn't just meet here; we both came here to farm, and
within days of each other.
Yeah, and it worked out in some ways, but we did a lot of like work exchange. So it was like, you can stay here and you can work for us, and then we'll sort of do a work trade thing, and that worked. He worked at the health food store, and I did a lot of work on the farm, and then he would help me in his time off, and we actually were able to like kind of slide by having to pay rent that way, and that's how we got started in Hawaii. But it was a rough start. It was, you know, it was crazy. It was like living in tents and cabins, and you wouldn't even believe me if I told you some of the stories and the things that we've experienced. And so we finally, like, we were exhausted and we just needed a place to sit that was dry with, you know, walls and a door and a, you know, like a sense of normalcy. And our families thought we had lost our minds. And so we decided, okay, maybe it's time we just sit still. So we moved to town, and we're like 5 minutes now away from Joe's job. And I sort of found myself like, now what do I do? I've had this like farming dream, and I had been kind of trying to start a business making jewelry and stuff like that, make clothes like this, you know, and that wasn't going anywhere. And I was terrified. I was like, I am going to have to go get a job again. And I have not worked for people like in that capacity for almost 4 years. And I was panicked. I was like, I don't even know what I want to put on my resume. I've been farming for 4 years. No, you can't call any of them because they're all crazy people. I mean, I didn't know what I was going to do. I was like, oh my gosh. And I've started to become very depressed. Like, I was so sad, and I haven't seen my family in a long time, and I was just losing it. And I was really kind of at the end of my rope, just completely like, I mean, I didn't know if I was gonna make it. I was really sick every day. I was sick. We couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. We didn't have money to go to a doctor and just have all these tests run. So we just dealt with it. We dealt with it, and I sat for the first, 4 months that we started this business. I sat in that bed with my laptop, and I couldn't even get out of bed. I just sat there every day and plugged away at it. But, you know, before we got started, I had had this moment where I thought, I am completely helpless and useless, and I am not contributing, and I don't know what to do anymore. And I was at the end of my rope, and I decided I have to make some kind of a change, but I didn't know what. I didn't know what to do. But I knew I had to do something, you know. And then when I jumped on Facebook, it was like it bit me, you know, like kind of hard, because I was like, oh, well, ask and you shall receive, I guess. And I had to choose right then. I had to say to myself, like, okay, are you going to go out and buy a whole new wardrobe and get all of these things that you're going to need to go get a job that you're probably going to hate, that you're probably not going to want to stay at, that's probably not going to make you enough money to really make that much of a difference when it's all said and done. And I had to decide right then, and I decided, you know what, I don't even care what they're going to offer me at this webinar. Like, these people are so excited. Like, I'm in already. I didn't even have to know what there's, and then I saw what the whole deal was, you know, and then we got involved with the product, and I mean, it's just magically better
Every day.
And like, so between those 2 moments in my life where I had to make these like huge decisions, and it's amazing because I can actually look back and go, that was the exact moment that everything changed. If I had made a different decision, I don't even know. I don't even want to think about it.
It's like it's like Robert Frost said, you know, I took the road less traveled by, and that's made all the difference.
Absolutely. So you know, I guess the message that I have for anyone that might be watching this, or anyone that, you know, if you have even started to question whether you can do a business from home, or you can get involved with, you know, people and teaching and learning something, and then turning around and teaching that to somebody right away. Like, if you're even starting to wonder if you can do that, like, you've already decided that you can. By just entertaining that idea, you've already decided, you know, I can do this. And so run with that. That's like the best piece of advice that I could give anyone, is that if you're having one of those moments where your life is like a series of dead-end jobs like mine was, and, you know, you don't really know what you're going to do with the rest of your life, like, if you're having that moment, then draw that line in the sand, you know, and take that step and take action and move forward. You know, I mean, this is a great community. If you've seen one of our information webinars, then go ahead and feel free to scroll down on this page and you can click the link and get started. If you haven't and you want a little bit more information, then get with the person that invited you here. And we're gonna, so it looks like actually we might have
one more person,
somebody joining us. So let's see here.
We'll give her a minute.
We'll give her a couple of minutes, but yeah, I mean, so this whole thing has just been a great ride with some great and beautiful people, and I'm so thankful to have met Jim. I think we're definitely kindred spirits.
Yeah,
Jim.
All the way across, all the way across.
But yeah, I mean, so
Awesome.
the whole thing is a great ride with some great and okay. Let's see who's unmuted. Let's go. Okay, let's mute. All right, Lynn, how's it going? Good to see you here. Okay, you're muted, so if you can unmute, you are good to go. Let's see, controls.
There she is. Hey there, Lynn.
Hey, can you guys
Yeah, we can hear you.
hear me?
Thank you for jumping on.
Sure. Anything to support the team.
Ah, see, that's what I'm talking about right there. That's awesome.
So I missed what you guys are talking about.
We're sharing line in the sand moments. We've all had, you know, those moments where you've had maybe several in your life, but the one maybe most important or most recent one, maybe the one that made you decide you wanted to start the business, or maybe something that's happened since you got involved in the business and something that you have decided to change because of that line in the sand moment. So
Okay. So
yeah.
for me, there's actually many. When we first started, most people don't know it, but Dad and I were living on credit cards because, you know, we weren't making it at the end of each paycheck. We still needed more money, so every 2 weeks, right? We still needed extra money, so whatever we couldn't cover, we would put it on a credit card. And as my kids were both in college, we credit carded everything for them to fly back, to come home. So we were in debt big time. But that was a time where I said, you know, we need to figure something out, to find something, because we obviously couldn't get a second job because we were working in retail.
Yeah, yeah.
And my parents were sick too. Well, my dad was sick, and I didn't want to look for another job because my extra time, whatever I had extra, was spent with him, helping taking care of him. So yeah, there were several things that contributed to why we started doing or started looking for something online, something that, you know, you could put up online on Facebook and not have to worry about it, right? Because you just put it up that one time, scale it, whatever, right? You just watch it. I mean, it's not like you have to go to a job, right?
Exactly.
You don't have to drive to a job and spend maybe an extra 4 to 6 hours and then come home. You know, you can be home with your family, right? Because that's after a while, that's the main reason why we do online businesses, because we want to spend time with our families. We want to do things with them, and yeah, so that's what got me to. Obviously, it was for money, but you know, when you look at everything, it's money and spending time with your family. You know.
Yeah.
That's what it was for me. I know.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's awesome, and I'm so glad that you jumped on too, Lynn, because you and Dan were it was your video
You're the
that
reason we
I
joined.
saw when I started. So it's always so interesting to me when you guys tell your story, because that was the story that really turned me on to this whole thing, and I thought, wow, I was just telling Jim, like, you guys were so genuine and so excited in a genuine way that I didn't even care what they were going to talk about at the webinar. Like, I was already ready to do it. I was just like, I'm in. I'm totally in.
It's like watching your video, right? I could feel your relief.
Yeah.
Like, I could feel how relieved you were to have something that you didn't have to spend all that extra time and energy, that you could, you know, put in a little bit of quality time and get way better results.
Yeah.
And, you know, you could just feel like it was like a wave of relief over you guys. You were sitting there on your couch like, I can't believe this is how we work now. And it was awesome. Like,
Yeah.
it was so authentic. And that's really, like, yeah, that's really why, like, I even, like, considered it, honestly. Like, that was the whole reason. That was like, okay, like, these are real people. Like, we can, like, I relate to this completely.
So Lynn, you are actually a huge part of our line in the sand moment. So it's so cool that you jumped on with us, and we really appreciate you hopping on.
Yeah, I want to support the team, you know.
Yeah, and we're so glad too. I mean, we're just so thankful that we have this team, because everything has changed. Like, you know, we were kind of the same way. It was about money at first. You know, it was about giving me, like, something to do that was kind of meaningful, but also, oh, a couple $100 extra a month, and then it was like, oh, there's a lot more than that, you know. And
yes,
then
it's going to be a lot more. It's going to be a lot more, but after a while, it's just being able to do things for other people. You're gonna, because everything is gonna come in abundance. That the money, you don't even have to think about it, and the money will come.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's, like, you know, like, just being surrounded by all of the positivity and all of just the, you know, the inspiration and the flow of energy, and seeing everyone's excitement. You know, it really just it lifts the whole group up, and everyone can just, like, you can see it, like, everyone bouncing ideas and everything. It's just so alive, the group.
Yeah. And everybody builds on everybody else's excitement, you know, and it's like, it is a really unique experience.
It is a unique community, because everybody just helps, right? I mean, it doesn't matter who. Everyone just, you know, helps out.
Yeah, and I mean, because you just jump on and start helping. It doesn't. I mean, you're just like, oh, I know the answer to this, and you know, you just, and somebody's like, whoa, that I just posted that 2 minutes ago, and I already have an answer. That's really, really cool. Awesome. Oh, it looks like we've got somebody.
Oh, we have somebody else. Okay.
All right, better late than never, I guess, huh? What do we got here? We have gray screen. Who is this?
I don't know. We're having some video.
Hi, Jam.
Hi. Are you back? Are you back in Hawaii, or you're still in? Or you're
no,
still
we're back. We got back Sunday afternoon, about 5 o'clock.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm kind of still on. I'm still on that time zone.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's a big jump.
You guys went back in time, right?
Yeah, because we left on Monday we left Monday morning, and we came back Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, that really, like, when I'm sending out emails to, like, so, like, the Australia thing, like, Jim, I have so much respect for you being able to keep track of this time zone thing, because I'm like, wait, okay, so it's tomorrow in Australia? What is that? sometimes if I'm tired and I'm like trying to figure out the times of them, I'm just like, okay, it's tomorrow there. No, that doesn't matter. I'm sitting it out the time. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's true. Because I was sending out too, and I was like, are we sending it out today or tomorrow?
It's already tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Who do we have here?
Yeah, who's joined us here? You want to jump on? Rathan? Am I saying that right? Rathan? Hello, hello.
I saw a little activity there.
Give it a few moments.
Yeah. Hello. All right, we got a nice ceiling shot.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Well, yeah. I guess we'll give him a couple of minutes, and then we'll start wrapping it up. So. Yeah.
It looks like more people might be coming.
Yes,
Is that you, Teresa?
We should just start calling people on Facebook.
Who else is here?
Hey guys, who's coming?
Eddie, Teresa. Who else said they might come? If you guys are listening, come on, jump on in.
Come on down. You are the next contestant on Team Talks.
Lori said she couldn't make it.
Well, we might be.
Well,
That was
it
a
looks
great talk, though.
Yeah, I'm really glad you guys came.
We appreciate it.
That was, yeah, it was a super fun talk, and it looks like whoever, I don't know who it is, their name isn't showing up. Anyways, if you can hear us, we can't see or hear you. Oh, there you are.
Hi, you want to jump on?
All right.
I'm at work. I'm just trying to listen.
Oh, okay. Well, welcome, and we will mute you out and let you listen, and we're going to jump off here in just a moment. So, thanks for stopping by. There we go. All right. Okay, so let's wrap it up for this week. And so, like I said, if you have already gotten some information about the business, go ahead and get started. There should be some buttons somewhere down on the bottom of the page here. If you don't have buttons, get with the person that invited you here, and they'll let you know exactly how you can get started on our team with us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and if you're looking for some more information, also get with the person that invited you, and they can point you in the right direction to get some more information as well.
I'm really glad everyone that joined us today. Thank you, Lynn. Thank you, Jem. I really appreciate everything, you sharing your stories and your line in the sand moment. You know, those are really profound when you think back and you remember like where you were and you think about where you are now, and you're like, wow, what if I hadn't made that decision? Like I could be somewhere completely different. But you know, I'm just so thankful that you guys made the decision you did and that we made the decision we did, because it's let us all here together, and it's an excellent, wonderful thing. So
yeah, it's a great opportunity.
Really appreciate you guys.
Yeah, so thanks for stopping by, and we'll see y'all next week.
Yep, see you next week. Aloha.
Aloha.